And now we can begin.
Welcome to another episode of the American Beer Review Podcast.
Good times with good friends requires good beer. Lucky for us, we know how to pick all three.
We're a group of friends who grew up in the Pacific Northwest, giving us a jump start on our craft beer journey.
Join us today while Brian,
Alec,
And Chad.
review some beer, talk about beer topics, and whatever else comes up. We invite you to pour yourself a drink and hang out with us. So I don't remember if I actually even checked it in. I'll look. But I went to check in. Did I check it in? The pretzel beer on Untapped. And it turns out it's been around for a while.
like a couple seasons?
Like
Yeah.
7 years at least.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Huh.
So somebody else had checked it in back in 2015. I did not check it in. So yeah, here I am thinking like, oh hey, look at this weird, funny new beer they found. Like, oh no, they've literally been producing this for 7 years at least.
So what you're saying is our take last episode was a bitter beer face take, seeing as it's been sold for 7 years.
Yeah, it's a novelty beer. It'll come out every once in a while.
Right.
For
Yeah,
7 years.
Never have a spot in my fridge.
It still won't.
No.
But that's a fascinating one that it.
I wonder if it's a clone to something they almost already make. Where
so it's easy enough.
Just
Oh.
hey, we just throw this one extra thing and now it's pretzel beer.
But it's got to be like a fall beer, right? Like
Yes.
it's got to be. It's definitely seasonal, right?
Gotta be.
Well, let me see when he checked it in.
Yeah. No, we'll check next episode to see if the
No, it's a year-round beer. It's
Yeah.
their number one seller.
Right.
yeah
Largest
largest beer in their portfolio.
Is it a year-round?
March and April is when this person checked it in.
Oh, cool. So it's just a staple
That's
beer.
so weird. That's so weird.
Yeah,
Did you check the date on it? Make sure it wasn't 7 years old?
Ooh.
I don't know.
I
Nobody.
mean, there was a lot of them in there.
Yeah. No. I mean, nobody
No,
died drinking
and
it,
because
so I
it's been
think we're
hanging
good.
out for 7 years.
I will tell you, I am that person that when I go, like, if I'm going to like a local grocery store or like a bottle shop, I don't tend to check like when the beers were made. But when I go to like a Total Wine or Bevmo, 100%, I'm checking them because number one, they just sit on the shelf,
Right.
and there's times where it's like, oh, look at this fresh hop beer, like.
Well, it's not fresh hop.
I was
It's
like,
6 months ago.
It's August,
Yeah.
like, or August isn't a great example because I guess technically you might be able to, but like, oh, it's March, like,
Right.
Yeah.
okay, this is definitely not
Well,
shop season.
And places like a Total Wine where they just have it's just there's so much
Oh, yeah.
beer there.
The
Like, you-
turnover's
like-
got to be, yeah.
Yeah. You ask the guy, when's the last time you got something from this brewery? 2 years ago? Like stuff on the shelf? Maybe.
Yeah,
And I'm like, that's the tricky part. The you either have variety or you have fresh beer.
Yeah.
It feels like in the specialty places. Not
All
so
right,
much.
so
What is on tap for today's episode?
oh yeah, let's get to it, shall we?
Sure. We got a couple, right?
Yeah, so I mentioned going to Camp Colvos. So they originally from Vashon Island, and they opened up a new spot in Tacoma in what is called the Brewery Blocks, which I actually had a coworker ask me about it because there's a big sign now that says Brewery Blocks Tacoma. Let's see. Let's do a little quiz while I'll ask a question and check some beers. Do you know why it's called the Brewery Blocks?
I'm gonna guess it's a special economic zone tailored to craft breweries and pub places. Brew pubs is the correct term.
Where's it at?
Where's
in
it at?
Tacoma?
Yeah.
Because it's been a while since I've worked down there.
Ruston?
No.
Between Ruston and City Center.
Literally nowhere near that.
Oh, okay.
Lakewood.
Straight up downtown Tacoma.
Huh.
Like right off of 705 and Pacific Avenue.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so that main exit, you get off 705 and you're kind of put onto Pacific Avenue, you can go up the hill. One block up the hill on the left, you have Camp Colvos and that sign. Up above it, then further, you have Seven Seas. You hang a left on one of those blocks, you end up with Black Fleet, E9, and Sig Brewing are all out in that area. So there's like at least five breweries in this area. It is partially, I think I heard somewhere that they have actually restricted where you can open breweries in Tacoma, and it is this kind of downtown area. There's some that are in other areas. So it is sort of that. It actually is the historical like brewery district where the some of the original breweries of Tacoma, including the original Tacoma Brewing. I don't know if Rainier was ever down in Tacoma or being brewed in Tacoma, but this is the general area. So Seven Seas is in the former like warehouse or distribution center of oh gosh, it's escaping me now. They just brought Heidelberg. They just brought back the Heidelberg beer. Your face says we should probably try that as one of these soon.
No idea what you're talking about. But yeah.
They brought back an old recipe, like the classic Heidelberg light beer recipe from, like, God, I would do it terrible, but like from the late 1800s, early 1900s or something. Or I know for sure it was around in the 60s and 70s, but it may have been historically around for a long time. So this is all in that neighborhood and area, and they've brought it back. There's hotels, businesses, but yes, mainly breweries. There's a new tap room coming in that's going to be in there that is a like a pour yourself tap room. So like you just get a little card and you just kind of can do some ounces at a time. There's a cidery, other things. So yeah, so Camp Colvos went and picked up a 6-pack there. This is their Wonder Mountain Hazy IPA.
7.2%.
Yeah.
Really? That's deceptive.
Dry hopped. 6 Strata Sabro.
I'll glass mine a little bit too. Oh. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
That is
beauty.
I'm kind of actually really glad I poured this in because that is not at all what I was expecting. It's like
I was expecting way clearer.
Yeah, for hazy. Well, hazy I would expect
not clear but more straw.
Yes.
And brown.
Like an orangey whatever. This is almost like grapefruit.
Especially it's a Pilsner malt. So
yeah, I'm getting grapefruit.
A lot lighter.
Yeah.
I'm getting grapefruit aroma up front
with some white wheat malt.
It's like a it's like that a less intense version of that grapefruit sculpin. The grapefruit sculpin.
Oh yeah.
Like a lot brighter and a lot pretty clean, but there is that feel because it is a 7, so there's some
booziness.
There's something, there's like some body to it.
But it tastes Pilsner. I mean, it's
you can tell it's not a traditional ale grain bill.
Yeah, that's man. I don't know what I would do though if I ordered a hazy and got that color. It's not bad. It just is like it's unexpected.
Right.
It really is. I like it. It's pretty solid.
So following up on last week's last
oh
pod
my God.
is what are the chances of the Brewers District turning into an open carry zone?
Good call.
This would be a perfect
right.
What is it? A case study
yes.
for doing it. Yeah.
So there's a few things that because I thought about it. There's a few things that run in their detriment for it.
The campus right there?
Yes, the University of Washington Tacoma is literally across the street from Camp Colvos. There is just not a clean walking area. It's very hilly through there. But you do have that kind of like chunk of breweries. Like that would be one of those ideal things of it being this kind of just like
this street.
Yeah.
With 2 blocks.
And that would be the thing is I think so Camp Colvos is on their own street, not a whole lot else there. There's a bank and some other things. There's like a coffee shop. Up above it is where that pour yourself beer place is going, and then Incline Cider is on that block. Then you have like an alley street and then 7 Seas. If those were all flat and you connected in that, and there's like a hotel in there.
Yeah. If
those were all on flat streets in like a 3-block radius, and you put another 1 or 2 of the breweries in there,
right?
100%. That is like but I still go back to the you have to then police the boundaries.
Yeah.
because then it's like, oh, you cross this street and now you're open carrying on a university campus.
Right.
Yeah, and how many C stores are in that range? You're just gonna have people.
Yeah. Or there's a restaurant across the street. So then actually the Harmon is right there too. So the brewery, it's down below campus, but across that street that is like there. So there is another brewery
Right.
in that part. But you're like, the Harmon wouldn't be a part of the open beer, the open drink place. And you're also talking about it being predominantly beer places, not
Right.
like there's not cocktails, there's not like that stuff. So
I just had this spark of an idea while we're talking about it. What if part of this special zone, you can take beer out of a brew pub, brewery, or a restaurant, but it has to be in this special
Plastic
aluminum
to-go cup or whatever.
aluminum recyclable cup
Oh,
that
yes, there
has
you go.
like Tacoma Beer District on it. So you're
biodegradable.
yeah. So you can,
Aluminum's not very
No,
biodegradable.
but aluminum,
but
aluminum,
very
the
recyclable.
cost, the cost is not gonna.
but very recyclable.
Yeah,
That's
that's what I mean. Like those.
regardless, some kind of recyclable cup that
Yeah,
this year to go cup, you can take it anywhere within this district, and then that eases your policing because then is somebody carrying the special cup?
Yes,
No.
but that's like New
Yeah.
Orleans. You have to get it into a go cup.
Right.
Like you can have even a cocktail or something, but like if you're leaving, there's almost like a bouncer at the door that's like, okay, you can take a drink.
But here's your go cup.
You're
We'll pour
pouring it in
there.
this cup,
Yeah.
and that's your like one you can
So
walk
people
around with.
people aren't going to be, yeah, I can just take a 22 with me and just sit there.
They're
and
not.
put it.
Pulling in us in Vegas and just walking
Exactly.
with like a 30 rack down the street.
What?
I don't. That's the only place you can do that. I mean, that's Vegas.
I think
baby.
it's actually
That's-
frowned upon there to do that.
Oh, I'm sure it is because assholes like us show up and do it.
You can take pictures with minions on the street.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
illegal,
I mean,
but
we're just
frowned upon.
yeah.
And
we're
so I poured the rest of it. Like that is dark.
That is
Like, but it's
murky.
not. It's not dark like the scotch we had
almost-
last time.
It's almost
It's dark-
hazy.
Yeah,
It's dark like an apple
It's
cider.
like-
it's like a
a-
hazy apple cider. I wonder why they call
Yeah.
this a hazy IPA.
Mhm.
it probably. I mean, it is. It's not clear. It's not like you can get a dark, clear beer,
Right.
but it is hazy. It is.
Because
Um,
they throw in the you got the white wheat malt
Yeah,
and the
that's
flaked oats, and that adds
That's
those
what's
very
put in
fine
that, yeah.
particulates that give it.
I want to go.
It's like it makes it a little more chewier.
This is the one I want to sit down with the brewer and be like, tell me more. Tell me
Right.
how it ended up with this because it's so unique as
Right.
being trust me, I've had a lot of hazy beers. Like this is different.
Mhm.
This is definitely unique.
It's getting better the further you go down the can,
Yep.
which is sometimes not a lot of the case with an IPA. Like the first quarter of the can, fantastic, but then getting that last 3/4 down and that hops continues to build in your palate. This finish is very clean for me. So in between sips, I'm not amplifying that hop flavor. I'm just getting that same hop flavor every time. I don't know if that's the same for you guys.
What are your feelings towards the hazy style? I know some people feel like it. Some people thought it was going to be a flash in the pan, just like, hey, this thing happened. It is. BJCP has now created their own category. So there's a hazy IPA category at the Great American Beer Festival. Which this year it actually was not the most entered, which last year it was. It went back to just standard IPAs as the more entered thing. There's a lot of people who just feel like they're super over it. I think because maybe they want the more traditional, bitter, piney styles. And don't get me wrong, I don't want all hazies, but I'm not mad about them still. I still enjoy them. Do either of you even drink them?
So I'm gonna be honest. I've been out of the loop for about a year on super fancy IPAs. I'm sticking to the NAs or the lighter side of fare. I love this. This is fantastic. This is for me what a session IPA should have been instead of just a.
7.2 is
That
not a
was-
session,
I know,
bro.
I know, but
I was like, what kind of
if
sessions
you
are
told
you having?
okay, if I could have finished this can, and if you guys told me after the fact that it was 7.2, I go, no way, that was like a 5.
Right.
This is like a normal. If this is a normal IPA and not hazy, that hops I feel like would be
Feel a
way
little
more
more
cranked
bite.
up. It's kind of sad that I've attributed hops to ABV, but it feels like a lot of beer, especially going back to the old times,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of high ABV stuff was over hopped.
Well, use the hops to hide the alcohol bite.
Yeah, instead of like what this is doing, having that hazy texture, adding that wheat just to soften the IPA-ness. IPA-ness. That's a terrible word to throw NES at the end of. We'll keep it. But yeah, this is. I would not know this is 7.2 just drinking it right off the rip.
Yeah. Alex?
No, good. Drinkable for sure. Not a one and done. If I was, like I said,
I'm still maxing out at maybe 3 at a session.
Yeah, I mean,
two pints, 3 cans.
knowing the ABV, absolutely.
Yeah, I think
one or two would be perfect with dinner.
Yeah, actually, what I would say is a 16 of this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's
Be
kind of
about
like I'm not mad about it being in the 6-pack style. Yeah,
Right.
like over the course of a night, you might have a couple.
But if
you're not tailgating with this, you shouldn't. Don't drink a whole 6-pack of this. But if you're an extended period of time hanging out, like this is a enjoyable one. But yeah, that 7.2 is a little sneaky. I have found some of them are creeping up that way a little bit.
Yeah.
You have this balance of like Chad was talking about being aware of what ABV you're
Consuming.
Yeah, at one point, we've probably all done it, that you go into a place and you're like, I will take the 9% beer. And you're like, because if I'm going to have one, I'm getting as much as I can. But now there's definitely like that shift, and we've seen it a lot.
I have things to do tomorrow.
I'm old. I will feel this not only tomorrow, but the next day as well.
Exactly.
Which I feel like leads us into, I don't think we plan on a double. I don't think we're going to review this one as much, but I've been pumped to talk about this one. But Chad, you have.
So serendipity. I just happened to pick this up at the grocery store this week. Pardon the audio quality while we hand out the beverages. So my store has carved out a little section in the seltzer aisle for an ever-expanding non-alcohol offering. And this isn't your standard O'Doul's style. This is from Crux Fermentation Project down in Bend, Oregon. These folks down there do not mess around. They ferment beer. They ferment pickles. They ferment all the fermentables. Fermenting is life. And honestly, this is probably the best NA beer I've had, period. And as an IPA, it's that's a tough hill to climb because IPAs are very astringent. You need the alcohol. You can't have as much sweetness, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
I think this is honestly, this feels like a good replacement. If you're not looking for, if you want to have an IPA after work, or you want to have,
or an IPA,
at
a work lunch,
lunch, or somewhere. If you want to have that IPA flavor without that IPA kick, I feel like this is a fantastic plug and play option. But I'm gonna leave it to you two guys to see whether or not I'm full of shit.
Well, and we were talking about it off air a little earlier. Is my knock on NA beers
in general
had been, well, they were terrible for the longest period of time. But even the good ones, you're you're sucking down the same 150 calories for no booze
There was no effort to adjust the formula. They were just, here's the wort. Like this, I've got the St. Pauli Girl in my fridge.
Right.
It's an okay option, but you can tell that there's too much sweetness in it.
Right.
This, it feels like when they combine the ingredients and everything and plan the whole fermentation out, because I don't know what exact operation they're doing to get rid of the alcohol, but a lot of them, they'll actually ferment and then get rid of the alcohol.
Right.
But the way this tastes now, it tastes like it was designed for this purpose. The flavors and the hops are all balanced in accordance to how much alcohol is in there. You definitely tell there's no booze in it because there's no booze
There's
hit.
no bite, yeah.
But my question is, if the booze was there, would that taste like a normal IPA? Is that part of our palate going, this is a beer taste? How much of that beer taste is, this is alcohol burning, an alcohol burn or an alcohol taste, however your palate perceives it? How much of that is of the beer taste, and how much of this matches that, just less that one umami presence of alcohol brings to a beer?
Yeah, I think some of it too is that if depending on the process they use, I don't know which process they're going through. It's going to remove some of that body feel, which I think is kind of what the most I'm getting from this. There is that hop aroma. There's like it's not an overwhelming West Coast bitterness, piney, but you have the hoppiness, and then on the flavor, there's a solid, like, going back to our last conversation, it's almost like, oh, hey, this is like a session IPA. And then, like, I could probably pour this for you and convince you this is a standard session IPA.
Would be a session IPA.
Yeah.
0.5% alcohol.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like I could tell you this is your 4.5% session IPA. I could pour it to you in a glass. The colors there, all the things are standard, and you're gonna roll with it. And you're going to attribute that slight lack of body feel just to it not being like the one that we were just drinking.
So heavy, yeah.
Yeah, and then you find out it's actually less than 0.5%, and it's like, oh, okay. I think we're coming off of the hazy. I might have expected just like maybe that's telling on myself.
Maybe your palate's a little numb.
Yeah,
to the hops.
Yeah, I grabbed some water just to try and like kind of switch it, which normally I feel more comfortable going from a
light to a dark,
from a hazy to a more standard IPA, because like if you're hitting the more standard IPA, you're gonna get those like sharper hitting the edges of your palate thing, like I don't know technical things, but like you're hitting those sharper flavors, and so I don't like going from a standard West Coast style IPA to a hazy. If I'm gonna do two of those together, I'm gonna start with the hazy,
right?
Because to me it's like a softer.
Yeah.
Like, my sister who doesn't like IPAs, I can talk her into some hazies because there's a little bit more. Like, it's like a double IPA. Even though there's a lot more hops, like there's also more malt. It kind of like softens that like bite.
Yeah.
But this one's still, even coming off of that, there's still solid. Like, it's not one like, as much as we talked about, like, man, this Camp Colvos is sitting in my fridge. I'm keeping a pack of these. I'm not necessarily feeling that way, but at the same time, to have that option that, like, when you know you might need to slow down,
right?
But you want the flavor,
give you something to sip on, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's
you're not feeling like you're missing out.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and I've actually, I was telling you off air about this. Like, I've been somewhere with somebody who I did not realize they were not, quote unquote, drinking because they were holding these beers. Yeah. It's not like you're so used to the NA being that O'Doul's
super
that,
obvious.
Like, yeah, like those few brands that are the NA brands, and now you have these like big brands making their own NA stuff. Like I saw the Crux logo, and I'm like, oh yeah, like they're drinking a beer, and then it turns out like yes, but no.
Mm-hmm.
So, leading out of that and into something else, do you think so? The previous iteration of the show, uh, Michelob Ultra, and some of
Yeah.
those beers like that were starting to end. Like, hey, you leave an active lifestyle, you do all these things. Why don't you have a lower calorie beer? Do you think that is going to start sliding into the NA space with people bringing out beers that you sneak this into a party, nobody's going to go, oh, they're drinking NA. They're drinking beer.
I think it already has.
And there's no stigma now. There used to be
There's
kind of
not.
it wasn't like it was kind of like a running joke. Oh, he brought some NA beer. Ha ha ha. ha.
He's the alcoholic.
Yeah. Now
or
it's
recovered alcoholic.
Yeah. Now it's
something you can mix in a little bit.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm just slowing down.
Yeah, I think there is a more acceptance of that, like, rotation of things or switching out or complete
or slowing down.
Abstination.
I need to slow down a little bit.
Like I would imagine, I haven't tried it, but those people who did like a sober October or a dry January or those types of things.
Oh, I quit.
If
that's what we do as a podcast, I'm out.
But I could see it being simpler.
Yeah.
In my own life, I have found that, like, coming out of COVID and doing those things where you're at home all the time. There's no like, oh, this is a work day or this is not. Like, I'm just at home all the freaking time. And what I have found coming out of that a way to kind of like trick myself is, we talked about it last podcast, but like, I drink the flavored waters.
Mm-hmm.
But it's that I, instead of sitting down and cracking a beer at dinner, I'll crack a can of flavored water. And it took me a long time to find some that I felt fit and worked. And it is that, like, it's my treat, it's my reward, it's my thing.
Yeah.
And this could be the difference is those are dirt cheap. Like, I'm buying a 8-pack for like $4.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like, that's the balance. And but that's in my own house. If I'm doing that or trying to trick myself, or just feeling, I need to slow down or do that, maybe it's worth the extra cost to grab a 6-pack of a Crux and to roll into a place and just feel like I'm crushing beers, but like,
yeah.
Well,
going back to Alec, your point earlier, it's 30 calories.
Yeah, so I don't know that I would crush a ton of these, but it's been so long since I've had soda, and I've done this exact same thing. We were just showing, I Liquid Death, but flavored water.
I've gone LaCroix, you've gone Liquid Death. It's
you need a fuzzy beverage.
Yeah. I need some bubbles, and so it's a good replacement for that. That's not a soda.
Yeah.
Yes, because I'm not doing that.
I'm not going back to having
14 Mountain Dews in a day.
We're not crushing a cube of Mountain Dew and playing KOTOR. Yeah.
Right, and energy drinks will give me a heart attack if I started drinking those again. So it's a good, like, going for a hike or outside doing something. You want something to drink that's not just water.
It's got a little bit of it's got
a
some
little
flavor
bit
to it.
Flavor, some bubbles.
I may have to dig. It'll take a little work to find, but I think another review in the future would be pretty solid. There's actually like hop waters now, and I've never had one.
I haven't had one in a while. It was okay.
Yeah, so that would be one. But like, I feel like the guy who created Liquid Death was literally like, no, here's the deal. We're gonna can seltzer water with initially no flavor. And we're going to put it in beer cans, and we're going to make it super metal on the outside.
Yep.
And it's a multi-million-dollar industry now of just this like branding of water. But it became that thing where, like,
to your point, LaCroix's been around for years.
A long time.
Aluminum cans. That's the other one, is that aluminum's infinitely recyclable versus plastic.
Yes.
But there's been canned sparkling water for decades.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not a new thing. It's the branding. They went after it and they hit it and.
Okay. You're totally right, because sparkling water has been around forever, but it's only been the last, even before the COVID times.
Yeah, it was a few years before that.
It just came out of it. It felt like it came out of nowhere, because it like you always saw it. Like in our area, Talking Rain was like the big one. It was in the soda aisle.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It was always Talking Rain was the top rack,
Clearly Canadian.
and that was it. That was all you had.
Right.
And now,
Isn't that a whiskey?
No.
What Canadian Club? Is that the whiskey?
Yeah, Canadian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Clearly Canadian's a sparkling water that you used to have at like
Okay.
Safeway and stuff.
All right.
yeah. But now, as like you said, now there is a LaCroix section. There is a flavored water section.
Yeah, not
Fizzy.
just LaCroix, like so many different
Mhm.
brands.
Yeah. It's just people like fizzy water.
Mm-hmm.
Is NA beer a new fizzy water? Do you think this gets popular enough with people seeking fitter lifestyles, wanting something other than to taste a hint of lime or a hint of tangerine? Do you start seeing different, IPAs is kind of a slam dunk. You just throw some more hops in it. It's
I think
a NA IPA, but you see in a theoretical parallel universe, a Boundary Bay Scotch NA.
there is, to a point. I think that you have this perspective. I mean, you have the current Miller Lite commercials that are out there advertising that they're only 1 calorie more than Michelob Ultra.
Miller
Because-
64.
No, the regular
Miller Lite
Lights.
is 1 calorie more.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's you obviously haven't watched commercials.
I don't watch TV anymore. I only watch streaming, so I don't get beer commercials. There's no beer commercials on streaming, as an aside.
So there is that focus on like cutting down and stuff, and I totally get it. I'm a beer guy. Like, I love craft beer. I enjoy it. I will talk about it. Obviously, I will imbibe it. Like, I'm craft beer, and so with my occasional Keystone, and Rainier.
Never forget your roots.
But the as you get older, you realize, like, oh man, like, yeah, I cut down on the excess food, or I'm exercising more, doing this, but like, my calorie intake is like off the charts because I had a few, like I had a couple of stouts or had these things, and so I do think there is a space for that. I tried for a while, a couple of years ago, maybe like 2019, 2020, to like pick up. So the most, what I know of, the most well-known NA brand is Athletic Brewing. It's national. They have tons of different flavors, like styles, things like that. But when I like bought their stout, you could tell that there was a difference. Now, maybe if you're like throwing it into your rotation, but like, am I throwing a stout into my rotation for the night that, like, I don't remember what the calories are in it? Like, that seems like just wasted space or wasted like energy. I don't need a stout that bad.
No.
So, but this, like, to get that like hoppiness, that kind of like comparable flavor and vibe at what, 30 calories? Like,
it's a nice little treat. Like, I
would.
It's good, but after I finished 2 last night, I was like,
good.
I feel I'm fine.
Yeah.
And so 60 calories, a nice little dessert after dinner.
I mean, 60 calories, dude. That's a fun size Snickers might crush you 60 calories.
That's half a normal beer, damn near.
Yeah.
Oh, at least, yeah.
No,
like
it's a good
one.
I think we talked about last pod, it's a good lawn mowing beer.
Yes.
You're gonna sip on it. You're not looking to crush it because you're not getting any advantage out of slamming the thing.
True.
So yeah, something to sip on, something to keep you busy. Feels like you're still in the game a little bit, and
yeah, I think we talked about last time. am I putting it in my like house fridge? Maybe not. Am I putting it in my beer fridge? I could see buying a pack,
6-pack and leaving it in
and
there.
just having it. That there's those times where it's like, I just think about my general routine. I'll have a couple of craft beers. I switch to domestic or ish macro beers like Rainier's, Keystones, different things, Miller Lights, because at some point it's like I have diminishing returns. I'm not wasting even a like we talked about the Camp Colvos. Like that's
that's not
wasting,
your 6th beer of the night.
No, yeah, exactly.
You're not getting the appreciation out of it.
Exactly. But I still want the flavor or something like that. Like I've even found it sometimes I will just find like a kind of more mass-produced, cheaper, low ABV IPA. That's my 3rd or 4th for the night.
Like a Red Hook or
yeah. Actually, Fat Tire was one amber that I switched to
in Belgium.
Yeah, that before then switching to a Rainier or a Keystone or those things to kind of like finish the night. But I could see this would be a great like pop that one in. I mean, the fact that you're then switching to a Rainier and now you're boozier,
right?
Like,
well, the other thing I will say about the NA beer here is 1, 2, 3. With each of us having 3 open beers in front of us, one of them being NA, basically takes one of those off the table.
Yeah, and it's a solid point. Like I don't know. I feel good about it. Like I'm not mad about it.
No, I'm not mad about it at all.
So I'm rotating through 3 IPAs right now.
Yeah.
Got my Ninkasi Triceratops or Velociraptor or whatever it is. Halloween beer. The Colvos. And then the NA.
Colvos.
What he said.
And then the Crux.
Yeah. And I'm not being thrown off as I rotate through them.
No.
Like normally normally that NA would be so sweet it just pop right out.
Right.
And you're rotating through some Busch Lights, it appears to be, and you're not having a kind of a sip and go, ooh, gross. It all plays together nice, which a lot of NA beers I've tried don't do that.
Well, and that's where they've come a long way in the last couple of years, because in their duels, or I think we reviewed a Klausthaler years ago that
German.
were just, do I have to finish this versus I'll finish this Crux.
That's the thing.
There's no.
I mean, you didn't pour yours into a glass. You've been drinking them. You're more known for that. But like, I've emptied mine into the glass. Like it's in my rotation, and I'm gonna finish it.
I will finish it during the pod.
Yeah. Like it's. So I think it's a solid one, and I again, it's just that like. And I like beer. I like the flavor. I like having a part of it. It having a solid. I've gotten to the point past our 20s where like it would be, you would offer me an NA beer in the 20s, and it's like it's not happening.
Right.
Like, there's no redeeming factor. To me now, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna rotate that through. I'm gonna like find a space for it. I think it's in my beer fridge. I'm keeping that in there. I'm having it as an option, and it also like a little bit. It's more welcoming to those friends that like I can have some people over, and maybe somebody who, again, is not drinking for a time or doing something.
You've got it, or you got the somebody's designated driver,
or you work in the morning,
and you can feel like you're a part of the crew, and you're not like as left out. And honestly, having the Crux on there, like I've been somewhere where somebody had one, and I didn't realize until the longest time that they weren't drinking like regular beer, even though which it cracks me up. We never said that we're drinking the No-Mo non-alcoholic IPA from Crux. Like, contains less than 0.5 IPA.
And if my
ABV.
future telling abilities were better, there is a hazy IPA version of this as well that we could have done alongside.
Okay.
Maybe
I think that's
maybe
what
for
I thought
another
it
day.
was. Yeah.
Maybe for another day we will come back around and give another NA beer a proper American beer review.
We get into 4-hour podcasts. I'm gonna need some NA beers to cycle through there.
That'll be for the live stream to all of our adoring fans.
All 4 of you.
Yes.
So we had a couple of articles, or at least one to like dig into today, or kind of touch on. Who was it that posted this in there?
Which one are you looking at?
Whichever one. I don't remember. Struggling to find them now. So,
Such is life.
I know.
So we've got
shocking.
Thor brought this one up. Chad, the Eagles reverse
Oh, yeah.
vending machines.
Yes, please tell me more about this.
Fellow bird team. So this, best I could gather, is a startup company. So you pop a recyclable item into this kiosk, and whoever installs the kiosk can go, okay, we're going to give whoever deposits, the depositee, whatever incentive we want. So in the Eagles case, they're like providing, now you have a voucher for Eagles memorabilia, merchandise inside the stadium every time you recycle a can. I thought this, I don't know, I hope this pilot program works, because that would be really cool, going to a Seahawks or a Mariners game or a Kraken game or
just anywhere in life.
Future NBA team.
At the same time, LeBron gets his Las Vegas team.
Exactly. I paid $20 for a beer in your stadium.
Oof, yeah.
If I can recycle it and get 20 Seahawks points, that at the end of the season, maybe I get a T-shirt. But it's a very cool thing to incentivize recycling.
So is Philadelphia, and that's what I was looking into. So it's the Eagles.
Yeah, it's at the Eagles.
Are they a bottle deposit state? Where, and I don't know.
I do not know.
That's one of the things that first came to mind is there's times where I've seen, like, I think Oregon is one, and so we see it a lot in our area in Washington, that it's like, oh, you return this can, you get 5 or 10 cents, and I'm like, no, I don't. Like, I vaguely remember as a kid where my parents would take them to places and we could get some money, but like, I don't think that's a thing. If it is, I'm missing out on.
There's a line item on your recycling bill. Now that we're all adults and we get such things, there's like a little line at the end as a credit for your recyclables. So it's like an estimate of how much aluminum or whatnot.
It's not yours individually. It's your route.
Everyone's.
Mine would be a lot more aluminum than the average person's. But you get a little bit of a credit back. But if you're in a bottle return state where it's either a 5 or 10 cent deposit, that would make a lot of sense. And I don't know whether Philadelphia, but Pennsylvania.
But regardless, but if you are in a state and you have fans, but they're buying beer at your stadium anyways, and if you are in a deposit state, let's just call it 5 cents. If the average person buys 10 beers from you during a game,
they take out a second mortgage on their house.
Yes. Well,
some people do it.
You just made an extra 50 cents on them.
The downside is most are not at a sports stadium. Most are not coming in cans. You can get some. There are some vendors.
But this does cans and bottles. It can be set up to do either way. So it can crush the cans or separate the bottles.
It's because you're doing, but most, like, you're talking about draft, like, let's get that plastic recycled. Like, there's, like, that's the problem, right? Exactly. Place. Yeah. So
but every beer vendor is slanging bottles or cans in aluminum
in the stadium.
They have started to go there. They'll open them for you, and
which because the Mariners.
I went to the Mariners on the last week of the season, and they did have the beer vendors back, not taking cash, but they had the beer vendors walking up and down, so you could get your can.
I ended up in the middle of summer at the seats that were right by the cheap beer section, where you could get like just 12-ounce cans for like $5, which was, I mean, it's still a ripoff, but like I feel better about it.
Yeah.
But those are in cans, so yes, there are cans. I just think like long term, in the article it talks about the expense of these machines, and so that's why to me, if 70% of what you're pouring in quotes is in plastic cups, these machines are not enough of a like solid investment. You would have to really commit to doing cans as like your go-to service device.
So you may see it in a stadium. I think you guys are both apprised of the college situation. Me and my college roommate saved all of our beer cans, crushed them, put them back in the cases we bought them in, and filled an entire wall of our dorm with crushed beer cans in beer cases because
Good
we
Lord.
were.
I stacked mine uncrushed into a pyramid shape until the pyramid tumbled, and then it was time to throw
Right.
it all out.
But we were business majors, or I was at least, so we were thinking about it. So we crushed
It
all
was
of
an
our beer
investment.
cans. Yep. Saved them all. Our dorm room smelled like stale beer and farts and 22-year-old gross dudes for 6 months. And we took them all at the bed of my truck to the recycling center because
And made?
our genius idea was we're going to recycle all this and it's going to be free beer. 6 months of saving beer cans, smelling even worse than our dorm room would have initially. $10.
Yeah.
Nice.
We didn't make any.
You made maybe a 6-pack.
Yeah,
That was half a 30 bomb at Rite Aid for
Yeah.
Natty Light.
we'd recycle, but we weren't saving beer after that point. That absolutely took the wings out of our sails.
Yeah.
So, to your point on what is the cost of this machine in a non-bottle deposit state, how many cans do you have to get through just to pay for the machine?
Well,
And yes, at a stadium, if you only got a couple of these things, if everybody's using them, you might make a couple $100.
the thing I'll say though, it's for them. It's the teams. It's not about making money because
No,
they're
it's-
giving prizes and doing
It's
that.
PR. Right?
It is, and
It's been great.
getting
Yeah.
that. But like, I'm not mad about it.
No,
I
I'm not
just,
mad about it. I'm
like,
just saying,
yeah,
when you hit the financially, how's this going? I'm like,
yeah,
it's a long uphill battle.
Yeah.
Recycling aluminum.
yeah.
This seems like just a technology play. Hey, we'll put this machine in your stadium. You're already recycling, most likely.
Right.
We're giving people incentive. Hey, if you throw the can in here, you earn your Seahawks bucks or
Right.
whatever you want. But like you said, you're just spending money on advertising for people who may already have season tickets. They're already going to be there. I appreciate the idea behind
for
it.
sure. For sure.
The thing that I will say is something that I've ran into. I try to be fairly cognizant of recycling and doing those things. But one of the things that I have found is I'm not gonna say what's what. I have 3 different brewery cans open in front of me. I have 3 different types of cans. Basically, they're all 12-ounce cans.
Mm-hmm.
One is like the branded on like design where it is the can is the design.
Right.
I have another that is like a shrink wrapped.
Yep.
Which now makes that can not recyclable.
Technically still is.
I have another one that is shrink wrapped but has the tearaway
Oh, right.
that now I can remove the shrink wrap and do
Yep.
it. And that's the thing is like, and this, which I don't know if you guys know, this kind of goes back to Ball, the aluminum can distributor,
Mm-hmm.
changed the rules 6 months ago. I can't remember how long it was, and ramped up the amount that each brewery had to order in cans for Ball to even like accept their contract.
Mm.
So they're having to go to these like secondary distributors, and to do that, they all have to be the same. Like you're getting like if you want the branded on cans that you know where you feel and it's smooth and it's like a part of the can, you had to do millions of cans to get them branded like
Right.
that. So a lot of people are doing the not branded cans, finding a secondary distributor, and then just shrink wrapping them on because then they're more flexibility for the people who just decide that one week they like this beer and the next week they want a new beer. So.
Mhm.
But it makes it tougher for some of those to like the smaller breweries to do that. So it just is this bigger picture of like recycling and the terribleness of whether we can recycle what we can recycle, lying to us about what's recyclable and what's not.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I worked at a high school for a while, and everything that went into the recycling can
Went into the garbage.
because
What's it-
anybody who can puts anything in it that's not recyclable,
Contaminated,
it's
yeah, the whole
contaminates
thing.
the whole thing and it's all gone. So,
Wow, that was kind of a heavy
little
ending.
heavy,
to
I
that
got a little-
segment.
thing there.
a little heavy and dark there. The only other article I think before we head out was
We're gonna talk about it.
yeah, I mean it's
The fight milk.
yeah. Who
Fight milk. I didn't read that far.
Fight
into
milk.
it.
Chad, you,
I saw it. This is another one from Thor.
yeah, you posted
It's
this one,
a
Chad.
dairy hard seltzer.
Yep. Fight milk, baby.
Okay, I admit I got a little like overwhelmed with looking at seltzer articles and
So I'm gonna break it down early because it's
help
taking
me help
it at,
you.
taking it at face value is a lot to a lot of people. So at the end of the day, the byproduct of making, in this case, yogurt,
Okay.
is
Isn't it like a super acidic, like toxic stuff that's hard to get rid of?
Wait,
not what
making
they're
yogurt does that?
I know Greek yogurt for sure.
Oh, come on. Don't come in here with that business and making me feel bad about my supposedly healthier yogurt.
Maybe, but yeah, the byproducts are like impossible to get rid of. So if they're turning it into booze, I guess
Okay, this
I can do my recycling and start consuming.
right. So now I'm eating Greek yogurt thinking I'm doing better for myself.
You're doing
and
better for
things.
you.
Yeah, and then I'm peeling off my plastic label to recycle and do whatever, and it turns out I'm already like 10 steps worse. This reminds me of, I don't know if you guys watched it, The Good Place.
No.
like the very first season.
Okay,
But then I caught up online with what happened.
I really enjoyed it. But one of the main things that they come across at some point is they're dealing with this like concept of heaven or hell and those like the afterlife. And at one point they have this guy who like he's going out of his way to do everything right. Everything right. So it's like, you know, if you know, eating meat is bad, he's not going to eat meat. He's going to do like he's not going to do anything that doesn't recycle. And then what he doesn't realize is like, yes, you are doing that, but 4 steps before that item, there was something bad. And you still are partaking in that item, not knowing
Right.
4 steps ago. So, ergo, you think you're living the best life ever to go to the good place, and no,
Right.
you're still in the
Right,
bad
still-
place.
yeah.
So, that's what you just made me feel about Greek yogurt. Like I just feel
Sorry.
attacked on my like supposedly healthy, better lifestyle.
Don't feel too bad.
Okay.
So essentially, what these folks, Norway, they are out of.
Wait, you need to explain.
It is not the country. It is
Yes, thank you.
Norwhey.
Yes,
like
get-
whey protein.
Yes.
yes. Like you're going to the gym and you're having your whey protein, bruh.
So this is like a pre-gym beer then.
Wait, what?
Not quite.
Extrapolating.
So per the article, for every cup of yogurt that is made,
okay.
there are 3 cups of byproduct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which
So don't stop.
so essentially it.
Let the man
But
talk.
what these folks are worried about are the water and the leftover lactose, which
Okay.
lactose is a fermentable sugar. So if you've ever had like these are all kind of winter beers, like a milk chocolate stout or something that indicates milk in the milk.
I mean, they have milkshake IPAs now where
Yeah.
they're literally like putting lactose into it.
Yeah,
Oh,
they throw lactose in, ferment it out, and it gives you that creamy flavor.
real quick,
I'm skipping December's podcast.
dude.
guys.
I
I don't want
There-
to taste that.
there are some like they're like smoothie beers.
Yeah,
That's what I'm bringing next time.
If you want a cream flavor,
Yes.
you're fermenting.
Actually, Odd Otter
Lactose.
in Tacoma has a pumpkin smoothie beer right now.
We'll be out of the season by then. So.
I will bring you non-pumpkin because I'm not down for that. But like that's on my to-do list is like smoothie beer for a taster for one of these days. All right.
So
Now-
this is the next step up from the seltzer craze.
Yeah.
Instead of using corn syrup, they're using this lactose solution that's left over from the yogurt process, and they paired up with a couple of yogurt producers who make it was like what 400 million something. So they make a lot of yogurt.
Right.
They're gonna have a lot of byproduct
They're
that
just gonna
normally
throw
would have
away.
been tossed out. Now these folks at Norway, Norwhey, for those listening at home, they're taking that and turning it into a seltzer product, a hard seltzer product made from milk.
Oh my!
All right. Can you get your hands on?
I know.
I mean, I don't want to,
I'm
but
working on it. I
feel like we need to.
I'm very intrigued. It's like what me and Brian were saying, like milk chocolate stouts or anything that wants that milk creaminess uses it.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to translate to a seltzer, which has traditionally wanted to
Very
be
light,
crisp.
yeah.
Do you want that cream thing? So that's going to be the telling thing, especially
You think
since
it'd almost be more of
because their flavors
turned
are
into-
citrus, ginger, and berry. So very light tart. So maybe that'll play off the creaminess.
I guess yes. If it was like a berries and cream or
berries and cream, berries and cream. Those who are probably our age know exactly what that is.
This it's from a brewery,
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
who
yeah.
else makes beer, dude?
but they're making seltzer. We talked.
Okay,
I think
all right.
off pod we talked about it, but like that's my point. Like
There was a perceived notion that seltzer innovation, it was only you needed to have the big macro to get the volumes of scale to get by the corn. Norway folks have figured out a way. We're getting this stuff at
Next
minimal,
to nothing, probably.
minimal
yeah.
cost. They might be
They're probably getting paid to take it.
yeah. Please take this away. We'll load up the truck, drop it at your place, get rid of it. I don't want it.
Is anyone going to Syracuse, New York soon? Because that seems to be where they're at.
I have no current plans to go to New York.
Literally, I've never been there.
I'm gonna have one hell of a Uber Eats. No, but I'm gonna work on trying to find it that is super interesting.
Yeah.
Because realistically, I know we didn't want to talk a lot about it because we talked about it last episode, but seltzer's kind of gotten one-dimensional.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if there is space, because there's a lot of yogurt eaten in America,
Yeah.
does this become a national thing? No.
So you got 1 cup of yogurt for 3 cups of this byproduct. So that means for every cup of yogurt you eat in the morning, you got to drink 3 of these to make up for your byproduct.
Don't know that it takes 3 to make one of these.
I'm pretty sure
we're running off the article. The internet told me for every cup of yogurt, 3 cups of byproduct.
So you go, babe, I got to.
Yeah.
I'm
listen,
just offsetting my.
Each can provides you with 31% of your daily calcium value,
Okay.
12% of your potassium, 10% of your zinc, and 8% of magnesium.
Yeah, tell me how that's not fight milk.
Right? I gotta
You got strong bones and you got booze in your veins. You're ready to go,
It's
baby.
got electrolytes in it.
Well, plants need electrolytes.
See, this fits right in with our NA beer. Like, this is a good post-hike beer. They're telling me on their website.
Well, it's dairy. It's a breakfast beer.
Yeah. Man. All right. Norway.
Our minds are initially, gonna be honest here, folks. We were all kind of skeptical, but now that we've talked through it, we're all convinced.
Yeah.
Our minds are blown.
It's only available across Western New York and maybe Chicago. I don't know. Oh, never mind. That's just where my VPN.
Somebody will ship it.
All right. Okay.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
I think
WHEY. That was a pun, folks.
It's good. That's a good grammatical one. I think it's about that time.
Yeah, I think that's the show.
Yep.
We'll see you guys next time.
If you're picking up what we're putting down, leave us a review on whatever podcast service you use, and throw us a follow on Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. Join us next time for another episode of American Beer Review Podcast.
Thanks for
Follow
sharing.
us
Thanks for
on-
sharing a drink today with us.
Yeah, thanks for sharing a drink with us. Thanks for sharing a drink with us during today's American Beer Review Podcast. Make sure to follow us online, LinkedIn,
Or
Twitter,
if you yeah.
MySpace.
No. Only LinkedIn. Find us on LinkedIn or hit that subscribe button on your best podcast on your podcast provider.